Howdy y'all, welcome to Nerd Studio. We're out at the range today, going to compare the Glock to the M&P. Stay tuned. Yeehaw! You know, I've been wanting to do this series for a while, taking two guns and sort of comparing them head to head and giving you my thoughts on them. I've done a few of these in the past, and it's really funny. I usually get a fair number of people jump on there and go, you can't compare those two guns together. They've got different barrel lengths and yada, yada, yada. Well, look, these comparisons are completely arbitrary, and they're just my opinions. If it doesn't flip your lid, then feel free not to watch. That's all I can say. I own these pistols for self-defense. I mean, basically, that's really what I'm looking at them for. So, to me, a gun with it has 15 rounds, another one has 17. To me, I can compare those because I would use them for the same thing. And I'm going to do a bunch of that in this series of videos. So let me just say ahead of time, if you're looking for a spec-to-spec comparison and some technical comparison, this is probably not the series for you. If, however, you are interested in seeing sort of my opinion on those two guns compared to each other, come on and watch. All right. If you've been watching the channel, you know I picked up an M&P-9 to play with, and I've been doing some customization. Feel free to go back and watch those videos before you watch this one. But I've got this far enough along now where I've got the Apex trigger in it that I feel I can really do a head-to-head comparison between the M&P and the Glock. So I've got the Glock 17 out, and I've got my Glock 19. We're going to shoot all three guns and sort of talk about it. I don't really have a concealment holster for the 17 because I've got a fairly light trigger in it, so I've got my 19 with me because I have a comparison holster. The other thing that I've done with the M&P is I've put the TFO sights on it, which I have on my 19. Makes for a nice comparison, sort of apples to apples. Generally speaking, I think my comments in this video are really applicable to the line of pistols, both the M&P and the Glock line of pistols. I've owned enough of each to be able to say that I think these comments really do apply across most of the guns. I haven't shot every one, and it's a broad generalization. I understand that, but I think you'll find that what I'm saying really does apply to most of the models in both lines. Let me run down the customizations that I've done to both sets of guns, sort of that allow me to kind of call them apples to apples. On both guns, I've got Talon grips. I've got a comparable trigger. This is the Apex trigger kit on the M&P. I've got custom trigger jobs from Glenn Jefferson on the Glocks. And TFO sights. That gives me the same sight picture, gives me my best shot at the feel of the trigger. And the Talon grips really are a great equalizer. I put them on all my pistols. So that's what we've done to the guns to be able to make the comparison. Let's go over some maintenance issues on both guns. Both are really easy to maintain. Modern day polymer pistols are, you know, they're built to be easy to maintain, and the M&P and the Glocks, of course, are right up there. I do like the way that the M&P breaks down. I like the breakdown handle, and it's a little easier to do than the Glock. The Glock, though, if I decide I need to get into the slide, and I want to take out the striker assembly and stuff and clean in there, the Glock is much simpler to do. You got to tap out a pin and stuff with the M&P. Not that it's not doable, it just takes a little more work. So either way, both are pretty easy to clean and maintain. Both guns are equally reliable. Both the Glock and the M&P eat everything I put in them. They shoot well with just about any weight of ammunition. They are both, you know, combat accurate, everything you'd need in regards to personal defense. The magazine's drop free, exactly what you'd expect from a quality handgun. Ergonomically speaking, I give a slight edge for ergonomics to the M&P. I like their backstrap system a little bit better. Both guns, if you get a Gen 4 Glock, have replaceable backstraps. So I'll give a slight edge to the feel in the hand of the M&P. But really, at the end of the day, the gun's job is to be good at allowing you to line its sights up with your eye and put rounds down range. Ergonomics is for something you use all day. So my mice, my keyboard, my car, those kind of things that I'm going to spend a lot of time operating or wearing, ergonomics is important there. The gun, I pick it up and for a few seconds fire the rounds out of it and then I put it back down. I don't think the ergonomics is really a big deal, but slight edge to the M&P. The M&P is going to run you about $110 less than the Glock, and that's rough numbers. I mean, it depends on your gun store, where you live, what time of year it is, who's got the deals, what's going on. I mean, but generally speaking, think about $100. I think the Glock has a slight edge in the ability to customize it. I think it has more doodads and thingamabobs that you can change out on the gun. But the M&P is not far behind it. Really, I think in the end that's a wash, but you could technically say the Glock has a slight edge for doodads. I found that if I needed something for either one of these guns, it was easy enough to find. So that's that. I think the quality of both guns are about even. The one thing I will say about the M&P, this particular one I got used, and the factory sights that were on it, the white pips were falling out, and I did some reading and found that is a somewhat known issue with the M&P. And Smith & Wesson's answer is take some white nail polish, and actually it is a specific paint they recommend, and just put the dots back on there. Makes complete sense. Not a big deal for me. I was planning to put the TFO sights on there anyway. So I think aesthetically I like the M&P a little better. It looks a little cooler in my opinion. And that's not for naught. It's not a big deal for me, but for some folks it is. And I'm not a big aesthetics guy, but I give the edge to the M&P for that. Now, I know I haven't really said anything particularly controversial here. If I had something controversial to say, I would say it. The reality is both of these are great guns. If you said, I like the Glock or I like the M&P, more power to you. I think they're both fine choices. For me, there is one dividing line that makes me choose the Glock over the M&P, and that's the trigger reset. And only really because I've trained to shoot off the Glock trigger reset. And it is very tactile, very audible. I think you can hear that. I got it up next to the microphone. And that's something the M&P, even with this Apex trigger kit, doesn't have. It's there, but it's not near as tactile, not near as audible as it is on the Glock. That being said, I can carry the M&P just fine. I feel completely comfortable and that I could defend myself just as well as the Glock. I think that trigger reset just gives the Glock a slight edge for me. So there you go. I'll go with the Glock and not argue about the M&P. Great gun. All right, folks, always remember anyone can shoot. Anyone can shoot a Glock or an M&P and have a blast. Anyone can shoot and have fun. We'll see you next time.
Yeehaw!